I'm Sparkle, and thank you so much for coming to our digital platform, Custom at Home. We have a great word from Pastor Tim today about honoring your father and mother, which can be a little hard right now during quarantine. But before we get started, you can go ahead and sign in on the chat. Let us know where you're from, what your favorite Bible verse is, and just get connected during worship. Let's go.
I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise and treasures that fade are never enough. Then you came along and put me back together. Every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. There's nothing, nothing is better than you.
Have you ever played a board game or a video game, or in my case, a pickup basketball game, where you started with a set of rules in place, like we're gonna play to 21, and then as your team, in my case, because I was always on the winning team because I knew how to pick teams as the captain, but I would remember we would be getting close to that set 21, and the other team would be like, I think we need to bump it up to 31 points, the first one to 31, and then they would counteract it. People on my team would always counteract it, but you guys aren't calling fouls, and how can you say we're gonna move to 31 points? And then it would inevitably end up somebody would, come on, man, you're making this up on the move. We would kind of make different moves to counteract and try to one-up each other because we all wanted to win the game. And maybe during this time of quarantine, you've been playing online video games or playing Monopoly or some type of board game with your family, and you've had these intense exchanges because someone keeps trying to make a different move in order to win, and your sister always comes in to counteract your move, and it can be so frustrating, right? It can be so frustrating when it comes to trying to get your way because, like I said, we all want to win when it comes to playing a game. And I don't know if you feel this same way, but I'm sure you can agree that when it comes to the relationships we have with our families and with our parents, with our siblings and step-siblings and cousins and everyone that is a part of our family, sometimes it can feel that way, can't it? It can feel like we're all trying to counteract and we try to get our way, but our parents come in and make a counter move and we try to get back at them. So with that in mind, over the next few weeks, we're gonna be in this brand new series called Your Move. And we're gonna open the scriptures together and we're gonna talk about, from God's point of view, how we can have healthy relationships within our families, how we can have healthy relationships with our parents, both now and forever. And so I'm excited for you to hear from our different speakers, and they're gonna unpack some different parts of the family. But today I want to focus on our parents, our relationships with our parents. Now, fighting with your siblings is one thing, but fighting with your parents is a whole nother thing, right? Because like I said a moment ago, you can try and make a move, feel like you're justified in doing it, and then your parents come in with an even better move. Because newsflash, they're your parents, and that's their jobs, is to come in and try and lead you the best they can. But there's all kinds of frustration and tension that can come with this. And how many of you know, especially if you're wired like one of your parents, for instance, if you are wired just like your mom, she knows the things to say to push your buttons, and you know the things to say to push her buttons. And so it can be this huge blow up, and you don't even really mean it. It's just you guys get under each other's skin so much. And so I don't know if you're living in that reality right now. And maybe you had that blow up just a few moments before you tuned into this. And so chances are, if it's not just a few moments ago, you've had that interaction or that altercation kind of back and forth with the parent or the grown-up in your family. And so with that in mind, I know we can feel stuck in a moment sometimes. We can feel like, is this how it's going to be with my parents forever? Is this how it's always going to go? Am I always going to have this tension and this frustration trying to make moves to get what I want and trying to get more freedom and more responsibility? Here's the good news. It's not forever. And while you can't change your parents, you can change your relationship with them. And so we're going to open the scriptures together. And when we do, I want us to think about this question. What is my move? What is my responsibility? And you're going to find that the Apostle Paul has some really interesting things to say when it comes to our move and our role as kids, as children. So go with me, if you got a Bible, to Ephesians chapter 6. We're going to look at verses 1 through 3 of Ephesians chapter 6. Now, real quick, the Apostle Paul here, he's writing to Ephesians. They were a group of his friends, and he wanted to encourage them. And he wrote some very specific instructions on how we are to act towards each other, and specifically in this context, towards our parents. So let's read it together. He says this: "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth." So as a child, because we're all children, doesn't matter your age, this isn't exclusive to like kindergarten through 5th grade and that's it. No, we're all children, because no matter who's parenting you, you're being parented by someone. So we're all kids, we're all children. And so Paul's saying, as a child, what's your move? And it's really simple: to obey and to honor. To obey and to honor. So what does obey mean? Obey means this simply: to follow the instruction of your parents. Now, I know there's someone out there watching right now, and you say, yeah, I get that, but maybe when you hear that, you think, if my parents would just, and then you fill in the blank, then I would obey them. If my parents would just extend my curfew just 15 more minutes, then I would obey them. If my parents would and we just fill in the blank with that. But here's the thing that I want you to grab hold of when it comes to obeying. Your decision doesn't have to depend on their behavior. Your decision to obey them doesn't have to depend on their behavior, because really it's on you. And there's this phrase Paul uses, and I want you to catch it. He says, children, obey your parents in the Lord. Now that's an interesting phrase, because what he has done here is he is saying that this goes beyond just good advice, just good wisdom for human to human interaction. And he's actually specifically calling us out as Jesus followers. And so real quick, if you're watching this and you don't know Jesus, you don't follow Jesus, you get a pass on this one, okay? But I want to encourage you first and say thank you for tuning in. If you don't know God, you're just figuring this whole thing out. We're so honored that you would tune in to listen to this. But I promise you, just try this out and see how this changes things within your family. And you never know, like maybe God will meet you there. I don't know. I just wanted to say that. We're just so honored to have you with us. But for those of us who are Jesus followers, lean in, because Paul is saying this very important thing. When it comes to obeying our parents, it's a spiritual issue. It's really about him and not them. And so if you are a Jesus follower, you have to take stock of your life and say, am I playing this game? I would obey my parents if fill in the blank. Or are you saying, no, I need to step back and say, search me, God. I am yours. It's about you. It's a spiritual issue to obey my parents. It's not about if they're right. It's not about if they deserve it. It's not about if you can disobey and get away with it. It's about saying, no, I trust the words of my Heavenly Father, and I'm going to lean into that. And I'm going to obey my parents because that's what Jesus commanded. Now, the second part of obeying that we need to really unpack and talk about for a moment is honor, because obeying is the first part. But let's be honest. We can obey technically while slamming the door, right? Your parents can say, please go clean your room, and you can stomp up the stairs and technically obey them, but slam the door and have attitude about it, right? Anybody guilty about that? So obeying has to go hand in hand with honor. So you obey and you honor. Honor in this context means this. It means to prioritize and value your family, to respect your parents. And here's the big key. Honor is an action and not a reaction. Honor is an action and not a reaction. Even if you don't agree, you should respect them. And so I want to try and illustrate honor and trust the best that I can. And hopefully you'll kind of find yourself in one of these three scenarios that I'm going to walk us through. Because here's the deal. It's a partnership with your parents. And trust in everything you do, trust is either being built or it's either being broken. And so what I have here is my trust bank, and this blue water is trust, okay? And this empty glass right here is our bank. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's say the first situation we have here is it's 10 o'clock, it's your curfew, you're out, and you're just hanging out with some friends, but something kind of goes wrong and you weren't really getting into any trouble. You were just hanging out, but something happened to where you're gonna be about 15 to 20 minutes past your curfew. And so you text your mom because she asked you to do that if you're going to be late. And you text her and everything, you know, that you just tell her, hey, everything's fine. I'm just a little bit late. Don't worry. And so you get home at 10:15, like you said. And so you honored her and you built up some trust there and you got some more trust in your bank. And so now she's trusting you more, and great job for you doing that. And so now let's say the second thing that's going to build trust. Let's say that you had kind of a rough semester last semester, and you came to an agreement with your parents that after dinner you were going to go upstairs and study and really, focus your energies on getting your grades up. And so after dinner, you go upstairs and you study and you do what you said you would do when you said you would do it. and you're building up all of this trust. And so, man, you are on your way to building up your trust bank. You're just honoring your parents, you're obeying them, and life's going awesome for everyone. And then let's say, here's the big one. Okay, fellas, for instance, let's say, you've got a job and you're gonna go take this young lady out on a date. And so you got the nice car, like your dad's car, and it only comes out on special occasions. And you say, hey, Dad, I've been really like honoring you and trying to do the best I can. I've got this really special date I want to go out on. Can I take the nice car? And your dad's like, yeah, son. And he throws you the keys and you go and you get dressed up. You even put some cologne on. And you get the car and you go pick up your date, and the date goes so awesome, and you pay for her meal because you're a respectable young man and you do have a job, and it goes so well. You're probably going to marry her. It goes so well, and you fill the car up with gas on the way home, and you even take it to the car wash, and you bring it back in pristine, clean, beautiful condition, and you've built up so much trust. Congratulations, you have really done a great job building up trust. Now let's run these back real quick and see just how quick breaking trust can be. So let's say that you're not obeying your parents, you're not honoring them, and it's 10 o'clock, it's way past curfew, you're an hour past your curfew, and you don't even really care about that. You're just blowing it off because you can, and so you get home late, your mom's waiting up, she's worried sick about you, and you're just mean to her, right? You kind of just blow past her, and so now you've kind of broken some trust. It's going the opposite direction. But that's just one moment. Maybe you can do better tomorrow because you said, yeah, I want to go upstairs and study after dinner and I want to do better. I want to obey you. But actually what you do is you go upstairs and you steal the keys to Dad's really nice car. Uh-oh. And what you do is you get some friends and you go pick them up and you're just out joyriding and kind of having some fun, and your parents don't know because you snuck out and you're breaking some more trust. And then you wreck Dad's car. You pull off into a ditch and you scrape up the bumper, and it's a really bad situation, and Dad has to come get the car, and you have to call him, and it's just super, super awkward and hard conversation to have, and all that trust you had built up is now gone because you didn't honor and you didn't obey. You're either trust building or trust breaking when it comes to the relationship with your parents. Remember, it's a partnership. By obeying and honoring your parents, you're strengthening your relationship with them. So as we wrap up, I want to just say, I understand. Listen, I know that you might be out there saying, but you don't understand my parents. You don't understand the demands they're putting on me. You don't understand all the workload and the classes. Like you just don't get it, Tim. Like it's really easy for you to say and it's really easy, but you just don't get what's going on in my family, and it's disheartening and it's just tense, and I'm just so tired and over it. How will things ever get better? And I know it's tempting to react to their behavior. But here's what I want you to know. You don't have to do that. Part of growing up is learning to choose your actions for yourself. Remember, honor is an action and not a reaction. So with that being said, what do we do now? What's your move? What does it look like to honor? What does it look like to obey? Now, I'm sure there's hundreds of examples I could give you, but let me just give you a few that come to mind, and this is a good place to start. How about pray for them? Just pray for them. Whatever's going on right now, if everything's awesome, thank God that everything is awesome, and ask, what can I learn from this? How can I continue to honor and obey? If things are really tough right now, and it's confusing and disheartening, bring that to God. Whatever it is, just pray for them. But above all, thank Him for your parents. Ask Him to see them as He sees them. Pray for them. Here's another one. Answer some of your mom's questions when she asks about your day, right? When you come home and your mom's like, hey, how was school? Give her more than just, hey, it was good. You know what I mean? Like, give her some enthusiasm. Tell her a little bit about your day. Start somewhere and just tell her what you had for lunch. I don't know. But just answer some of your mom's questions. Answer some of your dad's questions. It'll go a long way, I promise. Be the first to apologize. Be the first one to say, you know what? Even if you weren't wrong, be the first one to say, I'm wrong. Or something's kind of weird in the air. Can we talk about it? Be the first one to initiate that. And finally, be humble enough to decide that no matter what they say or do, you won't treat them like they're stupid. No matter what they say or do, you're going to treat them with honor. You're going to treat them as someone that is made in the image of God, who loves you very much, and they are trying to do the best they can with what they have to give you a better life than they had. So just step back for a moment and say, I'm going to honor you. I'm not going to treat you like you're stupid. I'm going to talk to you like a person. I'm going to invite you into my life. We're going to make this together as a partnership. Honor is going to look different for each of you. And trust me, God in heaven, our Heavenly Father, understands your situation infinitely more than I ever will or any of the pastors ever will, because He's your Father and He loves you very much. And He's telling you, even if you don't feel it, even if you don't sense it right now, it will go well with you. He's calling Him to trust you now, even if you don't fully see it or fully understand it. And it's your choice to do just that. It's your move.
That was an amazing word from Pastor Tim today on honoring your father and mother. And if you made the best decision today to begin your walk with Christ, we want to connect with you. Text BEGIN to 320-320. And we also want to connect with small groups. If you don't have a group, text GROUPS to 320-320. And don't forget, tell us where you are in the chat and let's get connecting. And let's close with the benediction. Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and your purity. Thank you guys so much for joining. And don't forget, I'm going to be on Instagram Live with custom students every Thursday. We do trivia, scavenger hunt, everything. So I'll see you there. You're welcome.